The village of Dunwich was a place of mists and whispers. Fog, thick as sheep's wool, clung to the cobblestone streets. Ancient houses leaned together like gossiping neighbours. Above it all loomed the castle, tall and imposing. It was said that on a clear day you could see the sea from its highest tower. But clear days were as rare as honest tax collectors in Dunwich. Now, Dunwich was a quiet place. Nothing much happened. That is, until Sir Oddrick came along. Oddrick, you see, had a rather active imagination. His mind was always filled with fantastical adventures and heroic deeds. He read too many fairy tales and believed wholeheartedly in dragons, damsels, and deeds of daring-do. Every page he turned fueled his dreams even more. He saw himself as a valiant knight, ready to face any peril. In his mind, he was always prepared for the next great challenge. This made him a source of much amusement in Dunwich. The villagers often chuckled at his antics, but Oddrick remained undeterred, his spirit unbroken.
He was on a quest, you see, a quest for glory. Nothing could sway him from his path.
His first grand adventure involved a rather large lizard. To Oddrick it was no ordinary creature. Oddrick, mistaking the sunbathing reptile for a fearsome dragon, charged into the forest with a roar, which came out more like a squeak. His heart pounded with excitement. The lizard, startled, scurried up a tree. It was a sight to behold. Oddrick, convinced he'd scared the beast away, claimed victory. He felt like a true hero. He engraved a mark on the tree with his spoon, a symbol of his triumph. Sir Oddrick, it read, conqueror of dragons, his legend had begun. The villagers, peering from behind their windows, chuckled and shook their heads. They weren't quite sure what to make of their resident knight, but Oddrick, fueled by his imagined triumph, continued his escapades.
He rescued stray cats from trees, convinced they were princesses in disguise. He battled windmills, believing them to be monstrous giants.
His most daring feat, however, involved the old manor on the hill. It had stood empty for years, rumoured to be haunted. Windows were boarded up and the wind whistled through cracks in the walls, creating eerie sounds. The villagers avoided it, but not Oddrick. He saw it as a challenge, a chance to prove his bravery.
Armed with my trusty spoon and a rusty bucket, just in case I needed to trap a ghost, I approached the manor.
The door creaked open as if inviting him in. Oddrick, heart-pounding, stepped inside.
I tiptoed through the dusty rooms, my shadow stretching out before me. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind sent shivers down my spine.
He heard a low moan coming from the basement. Convinced it was the wail of a tormented spirit, he crept down the stairs.
The smell hit me first, a truly foul odor. Then I saw it, or rather them.
A family of badgers, startled by his entrance, hissed at him from the corner. The moaning, a leaky pipe dripping rhythmically into a puddle. The blacksmith's daughter, a fiery redhead named Elara, was known for her sharp tongue and even sharper wit. Her words could cut through the toughest armor, and her intelligence was unmatched in the village. She was also, much to her annoyance, the object of Oddrick's affections. Oddrick, a well-meaning but clumsy young man, was relentless in his pursuit.
I would often bring her wildflowers, hoping to win her over with my sincerity, which I'd picked from her father's garden, and present them to her with a hopeful smile, and regale her with tales of my bravery, each story more exaggerated than the last.
Elara, though she'd never admit it, found him strangely endearing. His persistence and genuine heart slowly chipped away at her defenses.
One day I was helping my father in the forge, learning the trade that had been passed down for generations, when a stray spark ignited a pile of wood shavings. The flames leapt up instantly, feeding on the dry wood. The fire spread quickly, trapping me inside. The heat was unbearable and smoke filled the room.
Oddrick, hearing the commotion, rushed to help. His heart pounded as he sprinted towards the forge. He saw the flames and Elara's terrified face through the smoke-filled window. Her eyes pleaded for help.
Thinking quickly, or at least I thought I was, I grabbed a nearby pipe, hoping to use it to break through the debris, and charged into the forge, determined to save Elara and prove my worth.
He swung the pipe wildly, mistaking it for a fire-breathing monster.
The blacksmith, arriving with a bucket of water, watched in astonishment as Oddrick battled the beast with surprising ferocity.
Eventually, the fire was put out, and Ilara emerged, covered in soot but unharmed.
Convinced I'd saved her from a fiery demise, I fainted dramatically at her feet.
As the years passed, Oddrick's exploits became the stuff of legend in Dunwich. The villagers, initially amused by his antics, began to tell his stories with a fondness reserved for local heroes.
The tale of the dragon, the ghost, and the fire-breathing beast were exaggerated with each telling.
Oddrick, older now but no less delusional, would sit by the fire in the evenings, his faithful spoon by his side. The spoon, worn and weathered, had been his companion through countless tales and imaginary battles. He would recount his adventures, his eyes twinkling with the light of 1,000 imagined victories. Each story was more fantastical than the last, filled with dragons, enchanted forests, and daring rescues.
And we, the villagers gathered around him, would listen with rapt attention, our laughter echoing through the misty streets of Dunwich. His tales brought us together, creating a sense of community and shared wonder.
For in a world often shrouded in darkness, Oddrick, the fake knight with a heart of gold and a spoon for a sword, reminded them that sometimes all it takes to be a hero is a little bit of imagination. His stories were a beacon of light, guiding us through the darkest of times.
And so the legend of Sir Oddrick, the bravest knight Dunwich had ever known, or at least the bravest in my own mind, lived on, a testament to the power of dreams. His legacy was not in deeds, but in the inspiration he provided to all who heard his tales, the importance of laughter, and the enduring magic of a good story. In the end, it was not the battles won or lost that mattered, but the joy and unity his stories brought to our lives.